So, uh, good evening, all of you. So, today we shall discuss the Indian Express of dated 24th of July. Okay, so as we discussed in the last yesterday also, that the majority of the news item today which are covered is regarding the NEET protest. So, in the last class, we discussed about what the protest is about, what is NEET, what is NTA, and why this controversy erupted, and basically what the protesters are demanding. What the protesters are demanding. So, there is no major development. So, there are two developments. Number one is your that yesterday, Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, who is basically a inventor based out of Ladakh. So he was on a fast, uh, basically for the last 26 days, uh, basically putting up the demands of the protesters. So yesterday, in a major development, Mr. Sonam Wangchuk he ended his fast. So he was on a 26-day fast. So he ended the fast after two cabinet ministers, Mr. J.P. Nadda, who is basically the health minister, and Dr. Jatendra Singh. So when they met Mr. Wangchuk, the fast was basically ended. And in another development, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he basically brought a video of his whereby he addressed the issue of paper leak. So, Prime Minister in his address, he basically promised that fast track courts will be set up. Fast track courts will be set up to basically try the cases of all those who are involved in paper leaks. Now, what is this fast track court? So, we will discuss about these fast track courts today later in the discussion. So, we have one portion where we shall be talking about the fast track courts, what are fast track courts, how they are set up, and all these things. Apart from that, Prime Minister also promised a bill which shall be tabled in the Parliament, which will bring basically which will basically will bring legislations regarding the punishment which should be given to person who are involved or who are proven guilty in these paper leaks. So the exact detail of the bill is not out yet, but it is believed that the punishment will be made more stringent. So first discussion will be regarding fast track courts. So let's see what fast track courts are. So fast track court, as the Prime Minister Narendra Modi promised about. So what are fast track courts basically? So there is no single legislation, as the article says. There is no single central legislation that governs these courts. Basically, fast track courts, they were established on the recommendations of the 14th Finance Commission. On the recommendation of 14th Finance Commission. We know that Finance Commission is a constitutional body under Article number 280 of the Constitution. Every 5 years, the President of India basically establishes one Finance Commission. So the various functions of the Finance Commission, if you look into that, so one major function of the Finance Commission is to suggest the distribution of the central revenue between the central government and the state government. So whatever revenue the central government earns, it is distributed with the states. It is distributed with the state. So what percentage of that revenue shall be distributed? It is decided by the Finance Commission. Currently, it is around 42%. Matlab 42% of the revenue which central government earns. So there are two kinds of revenue which central government earns. One is a distributable revenue, other is a non-distributable revenue. So the portion of distributable revenue which shall be shared with the states, so how much portion will be shared? It is determined by the Finance Commission every 5 years. So currently 42% of the centre's revenue is distributed with the states. Now this distribution is called vertical distribution. is called vertical distribution. How? So there is center government and it distributes revenue with the states. So the first function of the finance commission is to determine how much portion of revenue will be distributed within the vertical distribution. Second is that suppose state central government earns 100 rupees. So out of 100, 42 rupees will be distributed with the states. But we know that there are 28 states. So within this 28 states, how this 42 rupees will be distributed? This is another function of the finance commission. So basically finance commission formulates the policy, or basically gives the formula based on which this 42 rupees will be distributed among these 28 states. Now this is called horizontal distribution. So vertical distribution is how much money between center and state, and horizontal distribution is the formula basically which will govern the distribution of the center's pool among 28 states. Now these are the two most important functions of the finance commission. Now if you look at all the functions, lastly it says that if the president of India assigns other tasks to the finance commission, so the finance commission will have to look into that also. So basically one of the most pertinent issue with Indian judiciary was the pendency of cases. So as per a law commission report, there are more than 4.5 crore cases pending in Indian courts. So finance commission came out with a solution for this, and finance commission suggested setting up of fast track courts. Now which type of cases will be handled in the fast track courts? So the finance commission says basically fast track courts will basically handle cases related to heinous crimes such as murder, kidnapping, property disputes which are pending for over 5 years. So murder cases, heinous kidnapping cases, and any property disputes which are pending for over 5 years. These kind of cases will be handled by the fast track courts. So as the name suggests, fast track matlab the cases will be tried at a faster rate compared to the normal courts where there is a slow pace of trial. In fast track court, the pace of trial will be faster. Okay. Apart from these cases, murder, kidnapping and property dispute, it also recommended them for cases involving vulnerable demographic like women and children. So if there is any case concerning women like sexual harassment of women, or domestic violence case, or heinous rape cases related to women and to children, and regarding children. So there are cases regarding sexual exploitation of women of children under the POSCO Act. POSCO Act stands for Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Children. So these type of cases will be handled by the fast track courts. Okay. So in the year 2019, following an amendment to the criminal laws and from the direction of Supreme Court, the Union government launched a centrally sponsored scheme. Now what is a centrally sponsored scheme? So there are two kinds of schemes. One is called central sector scheme. Now in central sector scheme, example of that is like your Swachh Bharat mission and all. In central sector scheme, the entire burden of expenditure is borne by the central government. Then there are centrally sponsored schemes. In centrally sponsored scheme, the load of expenditure is distributed between center government and the state government. So if the scheme costs 100 rupees for its implementation, so the central government will pay 60 rupees, the states will pay 40 rupees. But for certain states which come under the special category states, which includes your bordering states, states where there is left-wing extremism, and all the northeastern states, these states come under special category. They are called special category status states. special category status states. Now, in special category status states, under centrally sponsored scheme, the if 100 rupees is the expenditure, center bears 90 rupees while the states bear 90 rupees. For which state? For special category states. For special category states. So this scheme, this fast track court schemes, they were basically what? They were basically centrally sponsored scheme. Matlab, the expenditure was distributed between the central government and the state government. This scheme was partially funded by the Nirbhaya Fund. Now this Nirbhaya Fund, it was established after 2012. So in 2012, there was a very heinous rape case in Delhi, famously known as the Nirbhaya rape case. So after this Nirbhaya rape case, Government of India set up a fund called Nirbhaya Fund, basically to help basically women who are victims of such gruesome crimes. So this scheme was, this fast track court scheme was also partially funded by the Nirbhaya Fund. ठीक है, and the purpose was time bound trial of rape cases and offences under the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, that is the POSCO Act, which I told you. So the trial will be time bound. See, in normal courts, the cases are not time bound. It may take years, maybe 1 year also, 2 years also, 10 years also. There are examples where the cases have taken 50 years for completion. But if a case goes to fast track court, it will be time bound. A time will be given, maybe 6 months or maybe 1 year. Depending upon that, the trial has to be finished within this time. So the Prime Minister has said that now cases related to paper leak, if someone is arrested, their trial will be done in these fast track courts only. Now, the question comes, can it be set up for an individual case? Can the government pick and choose which case will go in fast track and which case will go in normal court? Can the government do it? The Supreme Court, in a very famous case called State of West Bengal versus Anwar Ali Sarkar case, says that pick and choose cannot happen. Randomly, the government cannot pick any case and say that no, this will go to the fast track court or this will go to the normal court. No, the government cannot do it. There has to be a rationale. There has to be a rationale behind which case goes to the fast track court or which case goes to the normal court. You have to define the category of cases. For example, cases related to sexual offences against children. So all these cases under this act will go to the fast track court. So government cannot pick and choose. Who said so? The Supreme Court of India said so. In which article? In which case? In the case called State of West Bengal versus Anwar Ali Sarkar case. And why the Supreme Court says so? Supreme Court says so that if the government follows the policy of pick and choose, means if they randomly choose any case and tell that this case will go to the fast track court, it will be violation of Article 14 of the Constitution. It will be violation of Article 14 of the Constitution. Now we all know what is Article 14. Article 14 is basically equality before law, which says that all of us are equal in front of law. And derivative of Article 14 is rule of law. It's a British concept, rule of law, given by A.V. Dicey. ठीक है. And so this is the meaning of basically your fast track court. Basically that cases can be transferred to fast track court where there will be a time bound trial. ठीक है. Now the question comes, how quick are the fast track courts? So the article says litigants do not have an automatic statutory right to a fixed deadline for their trials. So whosoever the litigant, maybe the Government of India or any state government, they cannot by right claim that the trial has to be finished within a specified time. It's not a right. So the erstwhile basically your CRPC, now called the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, it recommends that trials should initially be completed within 2 years and trials for sexual offences within 2 months. So if a trial goes to the fast track court, it must be completed within 2 years, or if there is a trial regarding sexual offences for against women rape cases or child sexual offences cases, they must be completed within 2 months. So this paper leak case, it's not a sexual offense. So the timeline to complete the trial of paper leak case as per the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, it must be 2 years. It must be 2 years. And under this fast track court scheme, so the timeline exactly is not mentioned, but it says that each fast track court is expected to dispose of 41 to 42 cases per quarter, matlab per 3 months, or at least 165 cases annually. Or at least 165 cases annually. Okay. So what is the performance of this fast track court? So the article says as of January, there are 862 regular fast track courts which were functioning across 21 states and union territories. Alongside them, there are 774 fast track special courts. Fast track special courts and there are which this fast track out of 774 fast track special courts, there within this only there are 398 courts which are exclusively for POXO Act, which basically Prevention of Children Against Sexual Offences Act, which are operational across 29 states and union territories. The disposal rate, if you see, is around 96%. Disposal rate is around 96%. Now when I say disposal rate, it not necessarily mean that punishment was given in the cases. Disposal means the case was disposed of. So if an accused is taken to a fast track special court and the case is disposed of, it either means that punishment was granted, or it means that the person was declared not guilty of all the charges. Either way, if it happens, it's called the case has been disposed. So the disposal rate is around 96%. 96%, which is a good rate. It says on average, and fast track special court disposes about 9.5 cases per month, which you compare it with normal courts, regular courts, the disposal rate is around 3.3 cases per month. So obviously we see that the speed of trial is more in fast track special courts compared to the regular courts. But because the domain of the fast track special courts have been made so large, we have seen all the property disputes, kidnapping, murder, sexual offences against women, children. So the volume is so large. So in the fast track courts also, pendency is rising. And the article says by the end of year 2023, there were almost 2.4 lakh cases pending in the fast track special courts. So what reason does the government give for this pendency? And this reason you can mention for pendency in regular courts also. So in the year 2026 in Lok Sabha, the Ministry of Law and Justice, which is basically the nodal ministry for these courts, they gave reason for delay in disposal. What are the reasons? Number one, availability of physical infrastructure. You need buildings where you can establish these courts. So there is a lack of that. Then it says complexity of the facts involved. Okay? Because these cases, they require a lot of witnesses and a lot of facts are required. These are complex cases. Murder cases, rape cases, these are complex cases. And if you try to give or end trial in a haste, it might lead to wrong judgment. So because of the complexity, also there is a delay. Then quality of investigation. See, courts can make judgment depending upon the investigation done by the police. And in India, police has a dual job. First job is maintaining law and order. And second job is investigation. If you go to USA, if you look at the US example, in US, these two jobs, that is maintaining law and order and second investigation, they are done by two different sections of the police. Those who are doing the investigation job, they are called detectives. But in India, the same police, They maintain the law and order also, and they carry out the investigation also. So maintenance of law and order means, for example, what you are seeing in right now in Delhi, that is what is happening Jantar Mantar. So there police is there, police is there. What the police is doing? Police is maintaining law and order. But the same police is also entrusted with doing investigation also. So overburdening of police, and investigation of some, let's say, some murder or something like that. Investigation is a very specialized job. The modern crimes require modern methods of investigation. Requires modern methods of investigation. So, Supreme Court, in a very famous judgment called the Prakash Singh judgment, Supreme Court had directed the government to bifurcate these two functions of the police, and different agencies should be entrusted with both these tasks. One agency for law and order, other agency for investigation. But this judgment has not been implemented yet by the states. We know that police comes under the state list of Schedule 7. Police comes under the state list. So it is the duty of the states to implement these guidelines given by Supreme Court in the Prakash Singh judgment. But these judgments have not been implemented yet. So one issue with quality of investigation, nature of evidence, and cooperation of stakeholders. So who are the stakeholders in a case? Number one stakeholder is bar. Which bar? Basically the lawyers bar, group of lawyers. Investigation agencies, that is the police. Legal representation, forensic support, witnesses, litigants. These are the stakeholders. So their cooperation is also required. For faster disposal of any case. So this is all about your fast track courts, about which the Prime Minister of India talked about in the video which he released yesterday, that now the cases related to paper leak will be handled by the fast track courts. I hope it is clear. Now the next news is regarding the Kusha missile. Just a second, sorry. Is regarding the Kusha missile. Now what is this Kusha missile? Now Kusha missile, it is as the article says, it is a long range surface to air missile. It is developed by DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization of India. Indigenously developed. Matlab, it is completely developed in India. So yesterday we saw that INS Malwan was developed indigenously. Basically, it is making India self-reliant in the field of defense equipments. So this Kusha missile, which is basically a long-range surface-to-air missile. We will talk about what is surface-to-air missile. So Kusha missile, which is a long-range surface-to-air missile, it was tested at APJ Abdul Kalam Islands off the coast of Odisha. Now this APJ Abdul Kalam Island, it was erstwhile known as Wheeler Island. Ye kaha hai? Where is this island? It is in the coast of Odisha. Now this is a surface to air missile, and it has a range of over 200 kilometers. ठीक है. Now, what is a surface to air missile? So see, suppose this is India. So I will draw the map of India here. Suppose a rough map. Forgive me for the bad drawing. Okay, so this is India. ठीक है. And here is Pakistan. Let's say Pakistan launches a missile towards India like this. Now, in order to protect India, we need to destroy this missile while it is in the air only. So, in this scenario, surface to air missile comes into picture. surface to air missile comes into picture. So here what we will do, so here what we will do, we will launch a missile from the surface. This missile will go upwards and it will destroy the missile mid-air only. It will destroy the missile mid-air only. Not just missiles. These surface to air missiles, they are used against fighter jets. Suppose some fighter jet is coming like towards India's way, so we can use these missiles to destroy those fighter jets. Missiles, of course, and UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, which in common terms we called drone. So we had seen last year during Operation Sindoor that Pakistan had launched multiple drones towards India. But none of the drones were able to strike the intended target. The target which Pakistan was intending to hit, they were not successful in doing so. Why? Because all the drones were destroyed while they were in air only by using surface to air missile. Now, in order to destroy an incoming aerial threat, first you have to detect those threats. So in order to detect those threats, we have an air defense system called S-400. It's a Russian made air defense system. So this Kusha missile, it will be installed in this air defense system, which is S-400. So if any aerial target is coming towards India, this S-400 will detect it and it will launch this Kusha missile towards it. This is the meaning of surface to air missile, which we will be able to accomplish using the Russian made S-400 Triumph. What are some other important surface to air missile which we have? So another example of that is the Akash missiles. Now Akash missiles are also surface to air missile. But Akash missile is the medium range surface to air missile. While Kusha, it's a long range surface to air missile having a range of around 200 kilometers. Okay. Now, Government of India, they had launched one mission called Mission Sudarshan Chakra. Now, this Mission Sudarshan Chakra, the aim of this is to develop more surface to air missile to basically protect our skies. So, the Mission Sudarshan Chakra, it is a 10-year mission. Within this, more surface to air missiles will be developed. Apart from that, more integrated air defense weapon systems will also be developed, which is basically your S-400. Now, S-400 is Russian made. So, we want to develop our own indigenous air defense system. So, along with integrated air defense system and surface to air missiles, we want to completely secure our skies. And this is the target of Mission Sudarshan Chakra, to make our skies completely secure within next 10 years. Okay? Fine. Now let's move to the next news. So the next news says that government allows FDI in inventory model of e-commerce exports. FDI in inventory model for e-commerce exports. Okay. So what is the meaning of FDI? And then we have to understand what is the meaning of inventory model e-commerce. Now first try to understand FDI. Suppose, let's say this is country A. I live in country A and here is country B. Now I live in country A and let's say I have 100 rupees. and I want to invest this 100 rupees in country B. In country B. So there are two ways to invest this money. First is I take this 100 rupees, go to country B, I set up a factory here, start producing goods and start selling them in country B. Now this is called FDI. FDI, which stands for foreign direct investment. So under foreign direct investment, there is a physical presence of the investor in the invested company, in the invested country. For example, Samsung. Now Samsung has built a mobile manufacturing plant in Noida. Now Samsung is a Korean company. Samsung is a South Korean company, and it has invested its money in India. How it has invested? By basically coming to India physically, setting up a manufacturing plant. That's how Samsung has invested its money in India. Now this is called FDI. Another way of investing money is that what I can do, I will buy the share of a company which is already working in country B. Let's say there is a country, for example, let's say Samsung, rather than coming to India and setting up a manufacturing plant, what it could have done, it could have simply bought the shares of an Indian company. Let's say Reliance Powers. It could have simply bought the shares of an Indian company. Rather than coming to India physically, sitting in Korea only, it could have bought the shares of an Indian company. Now this is called FPI. FPI stands for foreign portfolio investment. And together these two are called FII. FII means foreign institutional investors. Foreign institutional investment. So there are two types of FIIs. There are two types of foreign institutional investment. One is called foreign direct investment, other is called foreign portfolio investment. Now which is better for a country, or for example which is better for India? Of course FDI is better. Why FDI is better? Let's take the example of Samsung only. Now when Samsung set up its plants in India, that mobile manufacturing plant is creating jobs. When Samsung set up the plant in India, along with their physical presence and money, Samsung also brought its technology. Samsung also brought the Korean technology to India. So in FDI, technology transfer also takes place. But in FPI, neither happens. Neither job creation takes place, nor technology transfer takes place. Because I am not physically going and visiting that country. I have simply bought the shares. Okay. Now, another difference between FDI and FPI is that FPIs are too volatile. What is the meaning of volatility? Let's say Samsung, rather than coming to India, it simply bought the shares of some Indian company, let's say Reliance. So if moment Samsung will feel that economy of India will not perform better, or Samsung has any apprehension regarding Indian economy, what Samsung will do? It will simply sell its shares and it will move out of India. Selling share is not a big task. You can do it online. With a click of mouse, you can sell your shares. So within seconds, Samsung will withdraw its money from India. So that's why it's called that FPIs are volatile, while FDI is non-volatile. Why? Because under FDI, Samsung has established a manufacturing plant in Noida. So even if Samsung wants to withdraw, the withdrawal will not be easy. It will have to share its plant, machinery, land which is bought. No, a lot of physical investment is involved here. So withdrawing will not be easy. So that's why we say FPI is more volatile compared to FDI. FPI is more volatile compared to FDI. So now that we understand FDI and FPI, let's come to the news. Now let's try to understand what is e-commerce. What is e-commerce? So basically, e-commerce are of two types. One is called marketplace model. Other is called your inventory based model. So under marketplace model, what happens? Suppose I am a seller, and here is a buyer, and here is a e-commerce company. Let's say Amazon. So under marketplace model, Amazon will simply act as a facilitator. It will simply act as a link between the seller and the buyer. It will basically, what it will do, it will connect the seller and the buyer via Amazon. The sellers and the buyers will be connected via Amazon. Amazon cannot sell its own product to the buyer. Let's say Amazon cannot sell its own product to the buyer. This is called marketplace model of e-commerce. Whereby Amazon cannot sell its own product. The only things Amazon can do is connect the seller and the buyer. It will simply act as an intermediary. But under the inventory based model, what can happen? Suppose I am a seller. I may sell my product to Amazon. Amazon will buy my product, and then Amazon will sell it to some buyer. Now this is called inventory based model. Market based model, inventory based model. Now under marketplace model, Government of India had already allowed 100% FDI. Allowed 100% FDI. Matlab, if 100 rupees is required to set up a marketplace e-commerce, then all the 100 rupees can be brought from foreign country as an FDI. Example of that is Amazon is a US based company. But in India, Amazon operates as a marketplace model and not as an inventory based model. Now the issue, what used to happen, see, in domestic selling it was okay. But think about exports. Suppose I am a seller in India, and using Amazon I want to sell my product in, let's say, USA. So if it was a marketplace model, so you must be knowing, for selling a product, let's say in USA, you need lot of certification, quality control certification, various kind of certifications are required. We will not go into the deep of that. So as a seller, I will be responsible for arranging all those certificates, all those clearances, and Amazon will simply act as a facilitator. But had it been a inventory based model, I could have simply sold my product to Amazon, and then it would have been Amazon's responsibility. To arrange for all the clearances and certification before selling it to the USA. So if inventory based model is allowed, it will help small sellers in exploring the global market. So one data is here which basically says that China it exports, using e-commerce, it exports almost $300 billion worth of goods, while India exports only $5 billion. Why? Because China has permitted inventory based e-commerce model, FDI, in that. But India till now, had not permitted inventory based e-commerce. FDI was not allowed in this. But now this is a welcome move, because data shows that majority of the exports are done by small players, who are also called as MSMEs. MSME stands for micro, small, medium enterprises. So this is a welcome move. It will facilitate export of goods by the MSMEs, because under inventory based model, the e-commerce company will take care of all the certifications which are required, and it will make the export process easier. Okay? So I hope you understood this news also. Now let's go to the third news. Now the third news is regarding the proposed US and Saudi nuclear pact. US Saudi nuclear pact. Now under this pact, US, if this pact is basically finalized, it is not finalized yet, but if this pact is finalized, US will supply uranium. US will supply uranium to Saudi Arabia. To Saudi Arabia. For what? For what? So we know that uranium is the fuel required for generating nuclear energy. Nuclear energy. Nuclear energy. Okay. So fair enough. There is no issue for US supplying uranium to Saudi Arabia, but there are apprehensions. There are apprehensions. So what are the apprehensions? We will look into that. We will look into that. So number one, see, uranium comes in a very impure form. So in order to generate electricity, uranium has to be enriched. Suppose this is uranium. Suppose this is uranium. It has lots of impurities. So in order to generate electricity, these impurities need to be removed. This is called enrichment of uranium. This is called enrichment of uranium. Now, if uranium is enriched up to 3 to 5%, this is suitable for generating electricity. This is suitable for generating electricity. But if uranium is enriched up to the level of 60 to 70%, matlab 60 to 70% of the impurities are removed. Now this uranium, this much enriched uranium can be used for preparing nuclear bombs. Preparing nuclear bombs. Now, Iran, if you look at the West Asia, in West Asia there is Israel. Israel already has a nuclear weapon. Iran is looking for developing a nuclear weapon. And now if US starts supplying uranium to Saudi Arabia, in future Saudi Arabia may also develop nuclear weapon, which will basically set off a arms race in West Asia, a nuclear arms race. And we know what catastrophe a nuclear arms race can cause. What catastrophe a nuclear arms race can cause. Okay. Now let's try to understand something regarding the nuclear, basically how to supply nuclear and all. So in the year 1967, a treaty called NPT was signed. NPT stands for Non-Proliferation Treaty. As per this treaty, till the year 1967, the countries which had already acquired nuclear weapon, basically USA, USSR, now Russia, France, UK and China, Republic of China. So the countries these countries had already acquired nuclear weapon. So it was said that apart from these countries, no other country will acquire nuclear weapon. So if any country signs NPT, they will promise that they will never acquire nuclear weapon. So the other countries, they raised a question that what if we don't want to acquire nuclear weapon, but what we want nuclear for generating energy or for generating electricity. So the NPT says all other countries which will sign NPT, these 5 countries will help them. In transferring technology for the purpose of generation of energy. With a promise that other signatories promise that they will never acquire nuclear weapon in the future. So these countries, they were called nuclear haves, and other countries were called nuclear have-nots. So India did not sign this NPT. India says that it is discriminatory. Why only these 5 countries should be allowed to have nuclear weapons? Why not others? Either you disallow for everyone, or everyone should have the right to acquire nuclear weapons. Everyone should have the right to acquire nuclear weapons. Now, India did not sign NPT. In the year 1998, India developed its own nuclear weapons with its own technology. India developed its own nuclear weapons with its own nuclear technology, but India was still behind with technology in field of energy generation, energy production. So in the year 2008, India was given an exception by this NPT. India was given even though India was not a signatory of NPT, India was given an exception that without even signing NPT, India was allowed to borrow nuclear technology from these countries. With USA, India signed a agreement known as 123 agreement. Under which India was given a special waiver. To basically import nuclear materials and nuclear technology from other countries, even though India did not sign NPT. Okay, so this is one information which you should know about NPT. Other thing I told you, if Saudi Arabia acquires technology and uranium, in future it may develop nuclear weapons. And the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, has already said that if Iran acquires nuclear weapon, we definitely will acquire nuclear weapon. Now, there is another term which is in news here. It is assumed, or it is basically rumored, that Donald Trump has said that only if Saudi Arabia signs the Abraham Accord, then only US will agree to transfer of uranium to Saudi Arabia. Even though this news is not verified, but there are rumors. But for our purpose, let's try to understand what this Abraham Accord is. Now we know that Israel as a country was formed in the year 1949. But none of the Muslim countries in West Asia recognized Israel as a country. They declared Israel as an illegal country. And as such, Israel did not have any diplomatic relation with any of the countries in West Asia. Israel did not have diplomatic relations with any of the countries in the West Asia. So what is the meaning of diplomatic relation? Diplomatic relation basically means that the embassy of Israel is there in that particular country, or that particular country has opened its embassy in Israel. For example, till the year 1992, even India did not have diplomatic relations with Israel. Now, look at this term, Abraham Accord here. Now, in the year 2020, under the guidance of the then US President Donald Trump, who is also the current US President. So after that there was a break. Mr. Joe Biden became the President of USA. So in his first term, so an accord called Abraham Accord was signed. As per that accord, three Arabian countries basically, UAE, not Arabian countries basically per se, three Muslim. So all the Muslim countries had not recognized Israel because of the Palestine issue. So maybe in future we will talk about the Palestine issue, but not now, because it's not the main focus of the news here. So three Muslim majority countries, UAE, Bahrain and Morocco, they signed Abraham Accord along with Israel. After that, what happened? These three countries, basically UAE, Bahrain and Morocco, they recognized Israel as a country. And embassies were opened. Basically, their embassy was opened in Tel Aviv, capital of Israel. And Israeli embassies were opened in the capitals of these countries. This is called Abraham Accord. Now, it is rumored that President Trump has made it a condition that only if Saudi Arabia joins this Abraham Accord, then only this uranium will be supplied to Saudi Arabia. Now this news has not been proven. This news has not been, it says that it is unclear whether the pact contains any such clause or not. So we will have to wait for the future to see is it actually a case or not. Okay. So this is the third news, important news. Now let's move to the fourth news, which is about paper currency, replacing paper currency with plastic currency, Now see what is the news basically. Understand. So there is a PSU, public sector company, called Bharatiya Reserve Bank Note Mudran Private Limited. Now this is the agency which is responsible for printing, the notes in India. Now this BRB NMPL, it has floated a tender. As per which it is inviting companies to sell 3.4 crore polymer sheets. 3.4 crore polymer sheets. Now these polymer sheets, they will be used for basically producing plastic notes. Currently we have paper currency which is made entirely with 100% cotton. But now RBI is contemplating that now they will shift towards basically your plastic currency or plastic notes. Now what is the benefit of plastic notes? First benefit of plastic notes is durability. See, paper currency, they get soiled very easily. Soiling means that note gets destroyed, either torn or fades away, whatever. It's called soiling of notes. So plastic currency, even though the price to print one plastic currency compared to with the price to print one paper currency, the price of plastic currency will be higher. But in the long run, because of the durability of plastic currency, it will last longer. Within that time, you may be required to print 3-4 paper currency. So because of high durability, plastic currency is a winner against paper currency. Right now it is just in a trial phase. Don't be alarmed that very soon paper currency will be replaced by plastic currency. No, RBI is just doing a trial right now. Okay. Now this is the first benefit, durability. Second benefit is environmental benefit. Paper currency, they are made using cotton and they are non-recyclable. Once destroyed, they cannot be recycled. But we know that plastic is a recyclable material. So even if the note gets destroyed, plastic can be recycled to make other more plastic currencies. So it helps the environment also. Third benefit is to basically protect what? Counterfeiting, fake currency, counterfeiting plastic currency is difficult compared to the counterfeiting of paper currency. So these are the three benefits which plastic currency brings against paper currency. And that's why the Reserve Bank of India is contemplating a trial. So the question comes, if plastic currency is being used anywhere in the world? Yes. It was first issued by Australia in the year 1988. In Australia, they use plastic currency. And now, over more than 50 countries, including UK, Canada, New Zealand, and even our neighbors such as Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, they all are using plastic currency. Not exclusively, does not mean that 100% of the notes are plastic currency, but yeah, they are using plastic currencies. Okay. So I told you, because of its durability, the cost of printing currency might decline. So what is the current cost of printing currency? See, in the year in the year in the financial year 2026, the cost of printing plastic currency was almost 4,875 crore rupees. Almost 4,875 crore rupees. I told you, in the short term, plastic currencies might sound expensive compared to the paper currencies. But if you look in the long term, plastic currency will be cheaper because of its high durability. Because of its high durability. Okay. So these were the important news of today's newspaper. I hope you understood all the topics. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. We will try to reply to that. And as I told you, majority of the news today is about the protest which is ongoing. So I told you it is an ongoing protest, so there is no point, covering it day by day. So whenever the protest ends, we will have a complete overall look. So what changes were brought because of the protest and everything we will discuss at the end of the protest. And if some important development happens, we are discussing it. For example, the Prime Minister announcing that these cases will be heard in the fast track special courts. Okay. So thank you very much.